Welcome everyone to the 7th round of the Fujairah GM tournament happening in United Arab Emirates. On your screen is the Indian Grandmaster Pranav V. He comes in with some bottles of juices and water, gets ready for his encounter against his co-leader Amin Tabatabaei. Both Pranav and Amin are leading the tournament with 4.5 points out of 6. And this is the 7th round. Pranav has had a pretty good event here. He started off with victory over Nihal Sarin, then beat Ituri Zaga, drew against Aydin Suleimanli, Sanan Sugirov, beat Martinez Alcantara, and then Brandon Jacobson. He drew against him. So right now he's going to face one of the best Iranian grandmasters, Amin Tabatabaei, who also is in sizzling form. He lost his first round to Alexander Motilev, but then came back to beat Naidic, Muhammad Muradli, Pranesh, and Sanan Sugirov. So, in tremendous form is Amin. The players shake hands and off we go. Pranav, with his first move, opens the game with 1 e4. The time control is 90 minutes plus 30 seconds increment, plus an extra 30 minutes after 40 moves. He goes for the Sicilian. Full-fledged fight incoming here. Knight to f3. Let's go. And Amin goes d6, showing his intentions to play the Sicilian Najdorf? Maybe. And Pranav is happy to play the open Sicilian. He plays pawn to d4, pawn takes pawn, and Pranav takes knight takes d4. Now the knight comes out to f6, attacking the pawn on e4, and white brings his knight to c3, defending the pawn on e4. a6 played. The Sicilian Najdorf is on the board here, and Pranav plays a4, grabbing space. And because he's played a4 and no longer can castle long, it seems that's the reason why Amin goes g6, bishop g7. He wants to play the Sicilian dragon here. Bishop e2, he goes bishop g7. And Pranav will most likely castle here. Now he goes bishop e3. One of the things that has been proven before is that when white castles short, the Sicilian dragon setup is one of the most solid setups, so you don't have to worry. It's only when white goes long castle and h4 h5 can it get dangerous. So in a way it seems like Amin's opening choice has been pretty good. Knight to c6, he goes queen d2, and perhaps a simple move like bishop d7 and rook c8 seems normal, but knight to g4 played. Amin here is going for the bishop pair, but I'm not so sure if this is a very good decision. Bishop g4. Now he does have the bishop pair, but Pranav goes knight d5. Very interesting move. He's looking at perhaps knight c6, bishop b6 ideas. Rook comes to c8, and he goes rook c1. Maybe you can take everything on d4 here, but instead he goes bishop d7, and perhaps with the idea of taking and putting the bishop on c6 or playing b5 later. And Pranav brings his knight back to e2, giving up the pawn on b2, which cannot be taken because of rook b1 and b7 is hanging. So b5 played here by Tabatabaei. And Pranav now goes a takes b5, a takes on b5, and b3. He pushes his pawn to b3, and now e6 is played. The d6 pawn has become a bit soft now, and Pranav needs to move his knight. He goes back to c3, Black would have been perfectly okay, but there are a few things that are not in black's favor. One is the weakness on d6, and Pranav chops off the pawn. He's like, okay, I got the pawn. Amin, why did you give the pawn to me? Well, bishop c6. That was Amin's idea. He wants the trade of queens when his pieces are super active, but Pranav avoids it. He goes queen b4. Queen now comes to h4. Some threats, yeah, with knight g4 attacking e3 and h2. Bishop goes to c5 attacking the rook. If you go rook d8, there's bishop e7 with an attack. So he goes rook f e8 played here. And Pranav goes pawn to f3, solidly playing this position. He is a pawn up, so he's happy to be a little bit more careful. But Amin goes f5. He's playing with this big energy. If you take ef5, then queen takes b4, takes, and ef5. He wants to play this position with compensation. But Pranav is like, I don't want to trade queens. He goes rook cd1, improving the position of his rook here, and fe4 played. F takes on e4. Now both the rooks are on open files, but the knight on e5 is on a permanent outpost. It cannot be moved. What's his idea here? He goes knight to d7, attacking the bishop here. Clearly you don't want to be losing out this bishop, so bishop d6 played. Maybe knight d7 was not the best move there. He goes knight f6, attacking e4, also planning knight g4. But there's a beautiful pin that can be done now. And Pranav, can he find it? It's bishop to e7. Yes, he finds it. Excellent move. Pinning the knight on f6. It cannot move. Amin goes bishop f8. Now if you take on f6, he wants to take back. Rook takes f6 is met with bishop b4 when black is doing really well. So Pranav takes on f8, rook takes f8. Is the position close to winning now for Pranav? Can he go queen e7 with the idea of attacking e6? He goes queen d6, which is equally excellent. e6 pawn under fire. Queen comes to g5. Now you can take on e6. It looks very juicy to take this pawn. It's a free pawn. And Pranav goes rook to f4. What a move. He defends e4. He's preparing the other rook coming in. Pawn to b4 played, attacking the knight on c3. Where can this knight go is the question. Well, h4. Wow. Pranav is so alert. He pushes the pawn there. The queen has to move away. Queen to a5 played. There was also possible to go queen h5 to attack here, but then I would go rook d f1 to attack the f6 pawn. So he goes queen a5, rook d f1 in any case is played. He goes queen a7 with a check to the king. 9 minutes for Pranav, 4 minutes for Amin. We are on move number 30, so 10 more moves to make. King h1 played. He takes the knight on c3. And now rook takes f6 taken. He takes the knight on f6. And white is completely winning here. Rook takes on f6. e6 now is hanging. He takes. Rook takes back. The reason why white is winning is not because white is a pawn up, but because the black king is absolutely busted there. The e6 pawn is weak and everything's falling. Queen d7 played by Amin, who is hoping for a queen trade. It's possible to just take the queen and play rook f3 and win another pawn when you'll be 2 pawns up, but he goes queen e5, which is also a nice move. There's no way to defend this pawn, it seems. Queen d1 check, king h2. And if you take on e2, I have queen e6, rook is hanging. If king g7 check, queen e7 with a mate here threatened. That cannot be good. So bishop d7 played here by Amin. It was down to 46 seconds. But knight jumps into f4. Amazing. Pranav playing some insane chess, incredible chess here. Queen to g4. He's attacking the pawn on h4. And knight jumps into e6. Maybe instead of this, a simple move would have been g3, just solidifying the position. But knight e6, queen h4 check. King g1 played, that's the only move. Check here by Amin, queen e1 check. The rook can come back now. Rook to f1. Has Amin managed to find a way to draw this position? He gives quickly few checks. 39th move. We are reaching move number 40 where he'll get 30 extra minutes. And maybe black is back in the game. Oh, he can go rook f2 for here. Pranav takes his time and plays, yes, rook f2, queen c1 check played. We've reached move number 40. And now, in order to make progress, you must go king h2, queen h6 check. And I guess it's important now to go king g3. Wow. King g3 played, rook e8, trying to attack the knight here. Queen to g5. And Amin takes the queen. By the way, there seems to be no increment of 30 minutes after move 40. Ah, got it. So it's straight finish. 90 minutes plus 30 seconds increment. Knight takes g5. h6 played. If the knight moves, e4 pawn is hanging. Black should be better there. I mean, completely back in the game. But knight h7, what a move. If king h7, there's rook f7 check. If rook e4, there is knight f6 check, winning the rook. Incredible play by Pranav. Forcing him to take. King takes on h7. And now check on f7 played. He comes back king g8. And now rook takes on d7 taken. In the rook endgame, it might seem that black has fair chances to hold this, but it is not to be. After rook c7, there is no way to defend this pawn. If rook e3, king f2, the rook cannot have any squares on the third rank, and so then you lose the pawn and have two connected passers. g5 played here. And Pranav takes the pawn. Rook takes c3. And this is just game over. King f7. It requires some good technique. Let's see how Pranav does it. He plays rook f3 check. King comes up to e6. And now Pranav brings his king to f2. Threatening rook e3. So king d5 looks forced. He goes rook d4, another check, and now you can't go king on the d file because of rook d3. So you have to go on the f file. He goes king f5. And he plays rook d3, offering a trade of rooks. Amin goes rook to b4. And Pranav starts rolling his pawn. c4 played. King comes to e4, attacking the rook. And king to e2. Excellent chess. Plays h5. Black needs to somehow distract the rook here with g4, h4, h3 or something of that sort. But c5 by Pranav. Amin goes back with his rook. And even c6 played. If rook c8, rook c3, king d5, then just c7, king d6, king e3, and then you take here, my king goes in and wins this 2 pawns. So h4 played by black. And Pranav pushes his pawn even further. c7 played. Rook to c8, rook c3, and now b4, b5, b6. g4 played. He pushes the pawn. h3 played. Takes. Pawn takes. And now important to stop this h pawn with the king. Not to take this because rook c7 is a draw, so king f2 found. The king starts to come back here to attack the c7 pawn, but that just goes c, b5, b6. b5 played. King d6, b6 played, and it's all over now. He pushes his pawn to h2, but Pranav can simply go king g2, stopping the pawn, and b7 now is a massive threat. Tabatabaei looks at the position in disbelief. He cannot believe how he managed to just simply lose the game. Stretches out his hand in resignation. Pranav wins it. Now leads the Fujairah Global Chess Championship Superstars, the first ever edition here, with 5.5 out of 7. Very close to winning this tournament, as with 2 rounds to go, he has a 1-point lead over the field. An incredible performance by the youngster who played at the Chennai Grandmasters in the Masters section and did pretty well, and now is able to beat such super strong players.